welcome to another episode. My partner and I, Elliot Anderson. Well, I guess we're here talking to some of the guys.
We are talking to some of our SWAT team members today.
Oh yeah, want to introduce ourselves to them?
Yes.
All right, I'll go first. My name is Officer Eric Edwards. So, been with the police department about 10 years now this month, and native of Chesterfield.
All right, Sarge.
Nick Rockey, Sergeant. Been with the department about 15 years now. Currently assigned to personnel.
So if we were talking about, again, we want to talk, the topic is going to be about the SWAT team. Just give us a little bit, how did you get to this position? Let's start with you.
Okay. Well, I kind of started late in my career. I'm 39 right now. I actually tried out when I was 31, so I was late to the start. Usually a lot of the guys are in their mid-20s when they're trying out. Tried out when I was 31, made the list, got pulled off the list when I was right before it expired, so I was 32 when I made the team. But yeah, it was just something that I always wanted to do during my career, and finally went after it.
Okay, now about your journey. You started with Richmond Police Department first?
Yes, that's correct. Started off my policing career in Richmond City, was there just under 4 years, took advantage of our pre-certified lateral program, came over as a lateral officer, went back to patrol, and after patrol went to investigations. I was in CID, persons unit, for about 5 years, then got promoted. And it was right about when I put in for investigations, I also put in for the SWAT team.
Okay, good.
Eric, how about you?
All right, so me, I actually applied to the police department while I was on a deployment. I was in the reserves in the Marine Corps, and came to the department. I was 21. Graduated at 22 years old. Did some time in patrol. Then I put in, and I was actually selected to go to our community policing division, where I actually worked with Elliot for a while.
That's right.
And so another year or so after that, I tried out for the SWAT team. So I've been on the SWAT team about 6 years now. So it would have been, 26 when I tried out for the SWAT team. It just kind of was something that ended up filling the void for that missing place in the Marine Corps when I got out. Kind of got that same kind of camaraderie and the training and things like that. So it was something I had wanted to do for a while. And I had about 4 years in when I finally decided to try out.
Okay, good. I know we when we do our job fairs and we go and talk to students in colleges and in the military, when we go to military bases, the one thing they talk about is how can I become a SWAT member? And so in getting into that, knowing some of the background that you have, is there a time frame that you can apply to be on that team?
Yes, it's similar to any other process where you have to have at least 2 years of experience upon the completion of your field training. You put in for a 3-day assessment. During the 3 days, you're tested and evaluated. If you do well during the assessment process, you'll get invited to take a panel interview. And if you successfully complete the panel interview, you get ranked on a list just like any other process, and as positions open up, you'll get pulled off that list.
Okay.
Now, part of that 3-day process involves what? Because 3 days is a lot for one secondary position.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
And we get a lot of questions, like Darryl said, when we're recruiting, because we have people who feel like they would be successful. Mm-hmm. But what's the actual process? Is it physical, mental? What is it?
It's a combination of all that. Obviously, you need to be in shape coming into the assessments. It is physically demanding, but it's nothing new that we would expect you to know. So everything that you learn in the basic academy as far as tactics, room clearing, and so forth, that's what you're bringing to the table for the assessments. And it's just very basic stuff, but also being able to work in a group environment, team environment, because that's what we do. We're a team. But being able to demonstrate that, demonstrate your leadership, but also at the same time being able to transition from a leader to a follower and vice versa.
Wow, okay.
And why is that important? Yeah. I mean, if I'm a leader, I'm a leader.
Yeah.
the way
Is that
we
not the case with the SWAT team?
the way we look at this is at any point during some sort of operation, or if a officer's out on the road, I'm not a sergeant. So Sergeant Rockey over here, he's one of the team leaders within the SWAT team of our specialized units, but he might not be there during the actual incident. So I'm out working in community policing, or another SWAT officer that works in patrol or something like that. They might be the subject matter expert on the task at hand, and they might not have that leadership there to help them out. So they're the ones that are looked to by patrol. Even some of the patrol supervision is looking to our guys for guidance on what to do proceeding forward.
So you got, go ahead, Ed.
Well, I guess so that means that SWAT team members, like negotiation members, have to be versatile
Right.
and willing to follow those people they've trained with.
Very much so.
Yes.
I wanted to go back to the physical part.
Absolutely.
And I feel that, I mean, being a old athlete, that I can run, I can, do other things, but there's more to just being a runner.
Yes. If you look at our team, we have a very diverse group. We got one female as well, but not all of us are built the same. We all bring something different to the table. If you look at Eric and I, we're not runners. We're lifters.
Okay.
So if you got something heavy needing to move,
Sure.
we're our guys.
Okay.
But we got guys on the team that are smaller frame, skinnier, but they can run. They can run for days.
So what are some of the skill sets you need? I mean, I'm not a good firearm shooter or I can negotiate, I can talk, but I mean, I know you partnership with negotiation team and with the SWAT team, they partnership a lot, but do you need to know how to shoot?
For the SWAT team, yes. So our team standard is a 90% with the pistol. Your yearly qualifications, it's the same qualifications course, but we have a higher standard than the normal department standards. Ours is a 90%.
Okay, because y'all do competition, I take it, with other teams,
Yeah. So
other agencies?
usually before the pandemic occurred, we would try to go out and we've been traveling to go to some different SWAT specific competitions. And it's sort of a way to gauge our skill set versus what other departments are doing. So in the past 3 years, I think 2018 and 2019, there's a large SWAT competition in Connecticut where they host teams from all over the country and even some international teams. And I think the first year we went there, they had 37 teams or something like that. And the first year we went up there, and keep in mind, a lot of these teams are full-time elements where all that they do is SWAT operations on a day-to-day basis, unlike how we train. And we placed the first year 9th out of 37 teams.
Oh, wow.
That's excellent.
So,
That's
which is,
excellent.
we were pretty happy with. Obviously, we want to be number one at all times, but there was a lot of things there that we hadn't seen before, some different challenges. So working together as a team when we don't get to work together on a day-to-day basis necessarily. So it's just a good way for us to test our skill set,
Right.
see areas we need to improve, talk to other teams, what types of tactics they're using, looking at different equipment. It's just a good way for us to gather information about ourselves as well as what's going on across the country.
So to become a member of the team, you have to work your 2 years, have 2 years of good evaluations, pass an enhanced firearms qualification, an enhanced physical fitness testing, a panel interview, and then you may make it on team if there's a vacancy.
Correct.
So
If
how
there's a vacancy.
so how often is there a vacancy? Is there a time frame that you can stay on the team?
No time frame.
Okay, okay.
It's just whenever we call them SWAT operators. Whenever they feel it's time to go.
So if I'm a captain, can I be on the SWAT team?
No, the way we're structured right now is we have one lieutenant who's our SWAT commander, and we've got I think about 5 sergeants right now. We used to have a rule where if you got promoted, you would actually have to step down from the team, and that's actually how I got my spot. One of the guys on the team got promoted, and they had to step down, and then that's when I got the opportunity to be a member on the team. And then they got rid of that rule when I got promoted. So I'm very fortunate.
Well, they must have been mighty impressed to get you on the team. They decided to change that
So-
rule.
No, it just happened that way.
So to kind of touch on that, as far as being on the team and when you would come off or there's vacancies or things like that, probably something that gets overlooked maybe even by the general public or even people in the department. You cannot replace somebody's experience, right? I mean, you get a guy that's been on the team, like our team commander, Lieutenant McGregor. He's been on the team, I think, 17 years. And, if he were just to pop smoke and decide to retire, we don't have the ability to replace that
Right, the knowledge,
experience.
right.
So one of the things with promoting people off due to, or like having people retire due to promotion or get dropped from the team because of that, we started to realize that we were losing a ton of experience, and that could be very detrimental to the team. So even though as we progress in age, Sergeant Rockey, he's probably getting close to 40 now, and
Don't remind me.
and I'm now 32, almost 33, and clearly we're not as quick or strong maybe as we were when we were younger, but we bring that knowledge to the table and experience that brand new people just don't have.
I just, and going back to that, not only the knowledge but the training. I know you all do it. I remember, again, you being our sergeant, and we were like, well, where's our sergeant at today? He's training week after week after week. So when you put that training in, is it you're going to different areas of our county, going to different building training? What are you doing in training?
It depends on the month. The way we structure it is we have the team. Obviously, we have a 26-man team, and that's divided into 2 squads. And each month we'll have a squad training, which is the smaller group, smaller element training, and then we have a team day where the whole team comes together and train. And then we also have specialties within the team, with as far as like precision marksmen, breachers, grenadiers, that they have their own additional training days.
Okay.
But each training day there's a topic, a theme. Like one day we might do, or 1 month I should say, building clearing, and that's all we'll do for that entire day is just clear rooms in a building. We look for different training locations, because once again, if you use the same location over and over and over again, it just gets so repetitive, and we already know what that structure looks like, so it's no longer a challenge for us. So we're always constantly looking for new buildings, new structures, new environments to train in.
So has training changed since, in the last year with some of the summer activities that took place? Not asking you to give where you had to go and what you had to do, but do you see your training changing now because of some of the march, some of the protesting that took place in the summertime, or were you already prepared for that?
I would say it may have changed a bit. So for anybody that's not familiar, we also have another unit in the department called the Special Response Unit that kind of deals specifically with the protesting type stuff that get out of hand, turning more into a riot situation. And we kind of started to integrate with them a little more to help them out when they're having to respond to situations like that. So I would say maybe that going forward in the future, we'll be training more with them, learning their operations, and then what we can do to basically help them during those situations.
Now, one of the things with your training is I'm fully aware that you train 2 to 3 days a month, plus some specialized training and week-long trainings. But I'm also aware that you train regardless of the weather conditions.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's rain, it's snow, it's cold, it's windy, it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
When you do all those things. I know Sergeant Rockey just said about training in different locations. Is there a way that the public can reach out to maybe Lieutenant McGregor to say, hey, we have a building, we have a commercial development, or
That's good.
or something under construction, or something about to be destroyed?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Elliot. So for us, like Sergeant Rockey was saying, it's always a challenge to find actual locations to train at. We have a couple buildings that are like county-owned, like old schools and things like that we've trained in. But as he said, we've hit those, gone through them, probably 100 times. So at that point, we can kind of know exactly what we're doing before we go in. And it's nice to have different venues. So if anybody out there listening knows of, maybe a house that's going through a renovation or something like that, commercial buildings going through renovations or getting ready to get torn down or something like that. If they want to reach out to us and let us know, that'd be great. Get in there, let our guys get some training on some unknown structures, and it's going to benefit the public, in the case of an incident where we have to respond.
Right.
And it's both urban and rural. There may be a barn.
Very much
it could
so.
be something like Old Southside Speedway or
Correct.
any number of options. We're willing to work with the public on that.
Yes, I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize Chesterfield's got a very diverse, area as
Right.
far as we have some rural farmland. We even have a small airport here. We have a lot of commercial buildings with shops and things like that. A lot of schools. We
See,
have a ton of schools.
I
so,
took it Elliot was talking about Goochland or Powhatan going to a barn because he's from that area. So.
well, that's so. You mentioned that. We have gone, through mutual aid to help other jurisdictions, such as Powhatan or things like that, where we actually have had to search through barns and things of that nature. So anything really, we can be responding to any sort of area. So any space like that people would be willing to share with us would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. We know that you go through a lot of training. You're only training with about 26 total people. So I assume you build good relationships with your co-members of the team. One of the things that, our chief has talked about, as well as Lieutenant Colonel Kelly, is about employee wellness.
Yes.
Being on the SWAT team and negotiations are both stressful situations, in addition to what you do in your regular full-time duties as an officer. How do you all deal with the stress of being on the SWAT team? Workout? Do you do sports outside of work?
Counseling? Do you
Counseling?
Well, I know I can't speak for the entire team, but for Eric and I, we actually work out together. We go to the gym together, and we also joined a jiu-jitsu gym together. So we do that several times a week. But that's just a good way for us to decompress.
Yeah. There's guys that several of the other guys on the team, they'll meet together on the weekends and do, shooting sports or things like that, where they'll go out to do some competitions. It helps hone their skills. Plus, it's just a good time outside of work for them to kind of, just chew the fat and, talk about stuff that's going on outside of work.
Right.
Obviously, people on the team aren't just, SWAT people only. They've got kids,
Exactly.
they've got families. So they like to do stuff outside of work.
And one of the essentials of being on a team is what you just said, family.
Right.
So I would assume you have to have family support to be able to do this, because it's 24 hours a day. You're subject to call out, subject to be late to events, miss events.
Oh yeah, I think might have been in 10 years off 1 or 2 Christmases.
Oh, wow.
So, but the wife, she knew that coming in.
Right.
But 24/7, 365, we're going to be available for call out. Outside of obviously guys go on vacation and things like that, but they're going to let the supervision know, so we know ahead of time
Right.
that they might not be available for call out.
Now, you talked briefly about with other jurisdictions, working with them. Now, how often is it that you are called to assist other jurisdictions, either in training with them or on a call? I mean, does that happen to us, a lot with the smaller jurisdictions surrounding?
I won't say
Chesterfield?
a lot, but we do assist other jurisdictions. We do joint training every once in a while with other jurisdictions, but it's not like an everyday thing.
So for instance, we had a building that we've been using for training here in the county, and Richmond City needed somewhere to a training site. So we reached out to them. We have a really good relationship with them. Let them come out to use the training site that we had used too. So we reach out to them, especially for training. Some of the smaller jurisdictions that surround us, Colonial Heights, Powhatan's now going through a rebuild phase, Prince George, places like that don't have SWAT teams.
Right.
So if they have an incident that rises to the level that they're going to not be able to handle it with their basic patrol functions, those are the times when they call us out. So there's not really any sort of established frequency that we get called out.
But we do
for that
have
kind of stuff.
a relationship with other localities throughout the area. Good.
Yeah, and we reach out to each other and see what's going on, training venues, equipment wise. When we hear about incidents where other teams are involved, we call up to those team leaders and get debriefs to figure out if we need to change our training and bounce ideas off of each other. So we have a pretty good relationship with everybody around here.
I know one of the things that a lot of people perceive, at least from my experience, is that most of our members have had military experience. And I think in looking at our list, maybe 50% of our people have had previous military. Some have not.
So that's not a requirement.
It's
that you
not
have
a
to-
requirement.
No,
Absolutely
no,
not.
I have no military experience.
Okay. So Elliot and I, we still have a chance to get on.
Oh yeah,
on
we'd
the
be happy
team.
to have
Yeah.
you guys come try out.
Elliot, I think we actually can do it.
I can't fool myself.
Okay.
That is not an option.
So what else do you want to add to people that are want to participate in being on the SWAT team?
As far as participants, I'll speak for myself. I know that we like to look for people that have a good work ethic.
Okay.
We want people that when they try out for the team, they already have a good reputation in their current positions. All right, they need to be hard workers, handle their administrative work. You know, we don't need people that are having their supervisors constantly get on them, because
Self-motivated.
that's
Okay.
right. We need people that are self-sufficient,
Yeah.
because we can't deal with having people, out or having administrative problems, causing headaches for us on the team, because we have a very specific task at hand that we need to be able to focus on without having to worry about other stuff. So that's something for us. We want people that are, like you said, self-motivated and mentally tough.
Yep.
Mental toughness is probably the number one thing above physical fitness or any of that stuff, because like you guys mentioned, any weather, temperature, long hours,
Right.
there's been times where we've been out for 19, 20 hours. So, unfortunately, sometimes that's just the nature of the beast,
Yeah.
but we need people that have that mental toughness
So
above
and
all.
you have to love that job.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
really have to love that job. Sergeant, you want to add anything? in
I think
closing?
he touched pretty much everything on that. Just being a really squared away individual, putting in for it, because once again, your actions are a direct reflection on the whole team.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Well, Elliot, again, we love this. We
This
love
guy's
talking.
done a great job.
Yeah, excellent job. Excellent
Hopefully
job.
gave some clarity to some of our listeners. And I also like to remind our listeners that if they're interested in supporting our team by providing places or resources where they can train,
Exactly.
they can reach out to the department on social media. That is the quickest way to get the word to us, whether it's through our Facebook or any of the other social media platforms that we have. And our social media coordinator will reach out back to you and get that process started.
Okay, in closing, again, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I mean, we look forward to having a conversation to give back to our community on things that are going on in our police department, the partnerships
Right.
that we have throughout our county with other localities throughout the metropolitan area. So thank you guys for that, man. Really appreciate it.
I want to throw a little plug on there. I know if people want to learn more, in the past we've been doing our citizens academies. So if people want to learn
yeah.
even more in depth about different divisions within a department, you'll get a little bit more one-on-one with members of the SWAT team
for
and things
you.
like
Yeah.
that. So
Yes, that's
Good
a
plug.
great
That's excellent.
plug.
that's right. Check out our Citizens Academy. It's a really great program, and we love having you guys.
And that's
thanks.
that's online as well through our community services division.
Yep. So our partner, you want to close us out?
Well, we again want to thank everyone for reaching out to us and supporting us on the podcast. We'd like to shout out our two employees that you never hear.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Versatility and Lena Shaduli, who help us put this on and do the sound engineering and the production of it. And again, reach out to us on social media. If you're interested in a career in policing, go to chesterfieldpd.com and we will get that process started.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Chesterfield County Police Department podcast. This episode was written by Daryl Skinner, sound engineer Chris Rizzuti. We are the Chesterfield County Police Department representing Chesterfield County, Virginia. Check us out online at chesterfieldpd.com.